All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about a program called Symbaloo and how you can use Symbaloo to push out websites or web resources to your students. So instead of you cluttering your Google Classroom page with a bunch of posts of websites you want your students to access, or instead of having your students have to web clip or bookmark a bunch of different websites, you can simply have your students bookmark or web clip one Symbaloo. And then within that Symbaloo, you can continue to add websites throughout the year and change these as you need to. These things right here are called tiles. So here's an example of Miss Getzendanner's Symbaloo, where she's created one for third grade. You can see she has some purple tiles. It looks like these relate to science. She might have some other tiles that relate to a different subject, perhaps specific research or something along those lines. She has some videos right here in the teal tiles. So depending on the lesson, Ms. Getzendanner might push out this Symbaloo to her students that she's working with, and she might say, today we're going to be working with the teal tiles, so she's going to focus on these. Or today I want you to use the orange tiles to research blank, right? So you can use Symbaloo to include a bunch of different websites on this one page, and that way your students are only bookmarking this particular Symbaloo, this address right here, which I'm going to show you how you would create one of these and share so your students can access it. So now let's go over to my Symbaloo. I've simply logged in with my Google account. This is what it looks like when you log in. You're able to create a new tile just by clicking on your tile screen here. And you simply create a tile by adding in the website, okay? You can change the color of the tile. You can have the tile show text if you want to give it a name. Perhaps you call this reading group number 1 if this is, resources that your first reading group are going to read. Or perhaps you call it, science, video or something of the day if it's the specific science video you want your students to watch that day. And you can create, different tiles for different purposes. As in addition to tiles, you're creating this whole thing that's actually called a web mix. A web mix is inside of the program Symbaloo. So this is my web mix that I've started to create for first graders at Butterfly Ridge Elementary School. You can also create additional web mixes. So I have Dawn Getzendanner's web mix for third grade that she shared with me, and I added to my Symbaloo. So when you share a web mix, what you're sharing is this whole little tile panel here. You can't share more than one web mix without providing different links for each web mix, okay? So if I want to share my grade 1 web mix, my students could bookmark that. I could also share a grade 3 web mix, and students could bookmark that. So perhaps you want to make a different web mix for each of your subjects, or perhaps you just can find that there are enough tiles and enough colors for each of your subjects. Or maybe you want to create a web mix for one group of students and another web mix for another group of students, and then color the tiles for different purposes within those. It's completely up to you. But once you've created a web mix like this one here, you're going to click the share button. Once you click the share button, you're going to click share web mix. Right here, you are going to click web mix info and share options. This is the link you want. Do not take the link from up here. You need to get the link from right here. This can be posted on your Google Classroom, or you could have your students scan it with a QR code, or you can give this to your students just one time, and if they bookmark this, then anything you add, any tiles that you add to this web mix will automatically update, and all they have to do is access your Symbaloo web mix and then click the tiles that you want them to. All right, good luck.